The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is August 11th, 2025. We are live to tape on episode 866. And today, Shroud of Psyop. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
It is the 33rd week of the year.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
It is the Saint Clare of Assisi Day.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not
Was
know
she
this till
friends
recently.
with Francis? Is that the deal?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're friends now.
Claire and Francis. It sounds like they're podcasters. It's like Basil and Gonz.
Claire and Francis.
and
Yeah.
Claire.
Yeah. Pope Pius VII named Saint Clare of Assisi the saint of television in 1958.
Oh, Lord.
Because of a story that when she was too ill to attend mass, she miraculously saw and heard the service projected on the wall of her room centuries before the invention of TV. So they're calling her a saint.
That's
and
very
by extension, by extension of the television, they're saying the saint of computers as well.
So
Saint Clare of
Holy
Assisi.
Ghost television. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Do you think it counts as she saint of VR? Arguably, her experience
Arguably.
was a little bit more like VR than it was television, perhaps.
True.
You know,
Maybe.
because basically, I don't know, VR is like TV, but just right
face.
on your eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess does invite us, Gonzo, to introduce me back to the camera. Am on camera, not a big deal. Not going to make a big deal about it. I don't know if you all know this about me, but I have a pretty direct line to Santa Claus, and so I hit him up, seeing if I could get it in advance. You know, I've got a very good line of credit with old Saint Nicholas there. Speaking of which, not the saint of television or VR, although he might earn himself something here soon. And got a new VR headset. And it's so far pretty good. Pretty good. You'll notice I don't have to hold little controllers, which is actually kind of weird. Now I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands on screen. You know, do I just kind of, what do you do, Gonz? How do you look natural when
What do you mean?
hands are on camera?
My
But
hands,
you
my
might,
hands, they're here.
you might,
just
oh, that's
move as we're
good. See,
talking.
you seem so natural, so professional.
Right.
But you might see me doing some pinching, things like this, weird
Yeah.
stuff.
That is
doing
weird.
some sort of ninjutsu or something. But that's just me trying to survive in
You're
the
trying to
metaverse.
catch flies. You're just catching flies.
Catching flies. My samurai training. You'll notice the googly eyes on the headset today are homemade. I had to make them myself. I do have some more professional googly eyes coming in the mail. Won't be here till Wednesday, though. Wah, wah, very sad. But we're back. Thanks, Gonz, for holding down the fort last Wednesday while I was doing a very good and responsible job, not missing appointments that admittedly I had almost no control in making. But you did it. You got us through. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And by the way, strange enough that episode it coincided with the 33rd president dropping in the first atomic bomb. And what else was it? Oh, it was Transfiguration Day that day, which is all
day.
it has to do with the face like the sun, passage Matthew 17:2 and the rest. So it was a good opportunity to kind of rant and ramble.
Okay,
for a couple
good.
hours.
Good
All works out.
day.
And now we have a show on the 33rd week of the year. So a lot of numerical alignments going on. What's up with that? What is
Only
this?
happens once every 52 weeks. You know, you got to take them when you can get them.
True. Yep.
Okay, I want to give a big shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system from last episode. Thank you for doing it. If you haven't done it yet, do it real quick. Text the word canary to 877-740-3226. That'll just make sure you get a little text from us before every show. So you're only missing shows if you want to, not because the YouTube algorithms or the sort of demons living out through a sort of manifest artificial intelligence that have been let loose into the wild world of the World Wide Web, taking out their sort of disdain for human beings by blocking their eyes, pulling veils over their eyes to make sure that you miss a show and aren't connected and emboldened and edified by whatever it is the Holy Spirit's doing here. So text the word canary to 877-740-3226. You can text us back at that number whenever you want. It's very fun. I can't text you back. I can't carry on a conversation because it's very expensive for us to do that. But I do see them. I do read them. I appreciate everybody reaching out. We did get a text message I wanted to mention, and let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see here. One of the atheists that has revealed themselves. This is from 719. One of the atheists that have revealed themselves. So we officially have two atheists who listen to the show. We're glad you're here. We wouldn't watch you anywhere else. One of the atheists that has revealed themselves. I am behind on episodes, but I never bail on the episode. I never leave until after Basil's Any Last Words section. And depending on the song during the closing mixtape song. Depending on the song. We got some good ones in there. So parenthetical, you were talking about people bailing during prayer. So thank you for sticking around. One of the atheists, 719, says, also, sorry for blowing up your phone. If you do get a new VR, I would want to sell your current old one. My son would like to buy it from you. Yes, this atheist shares the show with her 15-year-old son. Lol. Anyways, if you'd be willing to sell it to him, we'll cover shipping, etc. Please email. And they gave their email. Very good timing on your text message there. One of the atheists, 719. If I end up sticking with this headset, I'm still within the opportunity to return it if it doesn't work out. But if you, I would be happy to figure out a way to send you at least one of my old ones, if not the one that I just got done with. Keep in touch. I see your email. Send us an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com. So we can stay connected that way. Thank you, 719. And thank you, everybody else who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. Might check out some other people texting back later on in the show. But there you go.
Sounds
Text
good.
Canary, 877-740-3226.
I was just checking your audio settings. Apologies if there was a little glitch there. I noticed that it's not what we normally have you on. I'm hearing you cut in and out when there's other elements going on at the same time.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if that's something we want to mess with now or it's too late. It's too late today. It's too
figure it
late.
out.
We're doomed. The show
yeah.
is going down the toilet. It's over. Thanks,
It's
everybody, for being here.
First day, new tech. First day, new stuff. There's always some stuff to iron out. So we'll kind of be doing that during the show. So excuse us if anything weird happens. We're not trying to do anything weird, but I know people have some grace for us. All right. What do you say? Should we start getting into the news?
We shall.
We will launch a new age.
Oh, who's this?
Yeah,
brought to us by?
this first segment is coming to us from Baroness, AR-IRL, executive producer, Baroness, AR-IRL. Thank you very much. We missed her last week, but we got her this week. She's the sponsor for this segment.
Yep. This is all stuff breaking today. CNBC.com. Trump puts Washington, D.C. police under federal control, deploys National Guard. It's happening. It's happening. The Nazis are taking over, Basil.
This is very fun. Yes, of course. It's the Nazis taking over. They are loving this. And if you don't mind, I'd like to jam through this article.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think we reported on this last week.
No.
There's been some building events, building comms over the Psyop waves about this. And it's all culminating in this moment. And this is coming from CNBC, which is beautiful because much like so many other stories that are brought to us by the mainstream, there is absolutely totally blind to any historical, even recently historical things going on. Because what they want to do is take this totally not out of context, but leave it outside of history. You know, this is just a crazy thing he did. Watch out, folks. Trump puts Washington, D.C. police under federal control, deploys National Guard. It's martial law, Gons. President Donald Trump on Monday placed the Washington, D.C. Police Department under federal control and deployed 800 National Guard troops in the capital city to address what he claimed was out-of-control crime there. It is the first time that a president has federalized the Metropolitan Police Department. Trump's move drew fierce condemnation from local officials who noted the official statistics show crime in D.C. is on the decline. Quote, I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. Bedlam, Gons.
Bedlam.
Bedlam
in D.C. That should have been the name of the episode today.
Trump said at the start of a news conference at the White House. This is Liberation Day in D.C. There's that Liberation Day.
A lot of Liberation Days happening. There's a lot of them under Trump. We should mark them.
And we're going to take our capital back, he said. Of the roughly 800 National Guard members Trump ordered D.C., about 100 to 200 will be aiding law enforcement at any given time for, quote, administrative, logistics, and physical presence, NBC News reported. D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwalbe called Trump's actions, quote, unprecedented, unnecessary, and unlawful, and signaled his office will take action to challenge the administration. Quote, there is no crime emergency in the District of Columbia. Violent crime in D.C. reached historic year lows last year and is
30-year lows. 30-year lows.
What did I say? 30-year low
yeah.
last year and is down another 26% so far this year, Schwalbe said in an X post. Now,
Bastion of Truth X posts.
I will say this. Okay, so who said that? Let's see. Schwalbe. Now, here's the thing. Not going to bury the lead. I would ask you, do you think that the CNBC dives into this number, this 26% number, that crime is falling? There's no reason.
Of course. Give me a source. Give me a link. Give me something. Yeah.
They'll give you everything you need to know. Of course they don't. But what they forgot, what they leave out is this NBC Washington article here, gives us the details. DC police commander suspended, accused of changing crime statistics. Whoopsies. ADC police commander is under investigation for allegedly making changes to crime statistics in his district. The Metropolitan Police Department confirmed Michael Pulliam was placed on paid administrative leave in mid-May. That happened just a week after Pulliam filed an equal employment opportunity complaint against an assistant chief, and the police union accused the department of deliberately falsifying crime data, according to 3 law enforcement sources familiar with the complaint. The union claims police supervisors in the department manipulate crime data. So it's the union, by the way. The union is claiming supervisors in the department manipulate crime data to make it appear violent crime has fallen considerably compared to last year. That's very interesting.
Just so people understand, this article was published in July of this year, so it's what, a month old.
This has been a building story. Again, CNBC would not want to confuse you by giving you the history and the facts. They simply say, hey, the police say crime is down 26%, leaving out this story that the police commander is under investigation and put in suspension for, fudging the numbers about 26%. Says here. As of last Monday, when News 4 spoke to Pemberton, D.C. crime data shows violent crime was down 28% Thursday. The department's website said crime is down 25% when compared to the same time last year, and overall crime is down 28%. These are the stories that they gave. That's preposterous, Pemberton said. Quote, there's absolutely no way crime could be down 28%. Last year, they suggested that it went down 34%. And it goes on and on and on. So you get the idea. So this crime statistic that CNBC is quoting, while technically, according to the law, it has not been adjudicated, but the people responsible for coming up with those numbers literally just got in trouble for changing those numbers. Thank you, CNBC.
It's funny that the numbers, it seems like the statistics of crime keeps going down as crime is actually going up. You know, that's the crazy thing. They're able to pull this off. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And
there's at least some reporting from the mainstream about the shenanigans with the messing.
Yeah, and notice how it had to be a local Washington station.
Yeah.
These local stations, they care much more about what's going on in the area. That's why we like grabbing local stations or, local outlets. But it's the national outlets that, tend to ignore the details of these sorts of things, these pesky details that get in the way of the message that they're trying to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we saw earlier in the article, it said, this is illegal. Well, Trump's federalization of the city's police force relies on the authority under Section 40 of the district's Home Rule Act, the decades-old law that established Washington's local government. That section gives president the power to order the district's mayor to temporarily hand over control of the Metropolitan Police Force if the president determines that, quote, special conditions of an emergency nature exist. The emergency control is set to expire after a maximum of 30 days, according to the statute. That can be extended, but only if Congress passes a law authorizing. Now, although Trump has frequently complained about crime in the district, violent crime there has fallen to a 30-year low as of January, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Again, statistics from the Metropolitan Police Department also show the incidences of homicide, sexual abuse, assault with a dangerous weapon, robbery, and overall violent crime have dropped by double-digit percentages so far this year. Wow. Crime just went away the second Trump showed up, apparently. Federal law enforcement presence in D.C. has nevertheless increased in recent days. Now, just a couple more bits and pieces here. Eleanor Holmes Norton, a Democrat who is in the District of Columbia's non-voting delegate in the House of Representatives, called Trump's actions an historic assault on D.C. home rule and a counterproductive escalatory seizure of D.C.'s resources to use for the purposes not supported by D.C. residents. Yeah, why would D.C. residents support getting crime under control? Of course, they love crime. Trump, who had recently threatened to place Washington under federal control, said Monday morning that U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. He also said that he will deploy the National Guard to help reestablish law and order and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. Trump added, you're going to have a lot of essential military, and we'll bring in the military if it's needed. D.C. Mayor's Muriel Bowser's office did not immediately respond to CNBC's request for comment on the Trump actions. And it goes into some of her quotes. Now, let me skip down a second. Trump had teased his announcement on social media in the days leading up to the presser. Quote, crime, savagery, filth, scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again, Trump wrote on Truth Social earlier Monday. On Sunday, he declared that, quote, the homeless in D.C. will have to move out immediately while assuring the government will give you places to stay, but far from the capital. Now, one thing that they haven't yet gotten to, they get to a little bit earlier on, but it's nice and hidden all the way at the bottom here. And many of you may have heard this story from last week, but why? What caused Trump to suddenly talk about the crime? Well, over here on New York Post, ex-DOGE staffer nicknamed Big Balls, left bloodied after savage DC carjacking attempt by 10 juveniles. Now, I don't. I'm just. He's talking about like a gala, like a dance, right? Like
Right,
an old
yeah.
fashioned timey dance, like
Yes.
Cinderella's
Yes, you get
ball.
dressed. Cinderella went to a big ball.
A
Yeah.
big ball, right? So
Yeah.
it's he's a big fan of ballroom dancing, and it's
Social
just a
gathering.
lovely thing for our country's technocratic engineers who are taking over the country with AI to have some sort of human hobby like dancing, ballroom dancing.
He must have went to
Long
cotillion as a young man.
Yeah. Long story short, this fella became famous, A, because it was revealed that he had this online nomenclature attached to his personhood. But he was one of the young kids, 19 years old, who were part of the Department of Government Efficiency. There's a whole big hullabaloo. He was fired. They brought him back. It was a great news cycle about big ballroom dancer here. But what happened recently, this was last week or maybe a little bit over a week ago, he witnessed a gang of young kids, youths, they are described as youths. So we're talking under 18 years old, try to carjack a woman. And he jumped in to defend her and just got absolutely destroyed by this group of youth.
Yeah, pretty brutal images out of
Yes.
out of this.
Yeah,
whole thing.
bloodied. He went to the hospital. There was a whole thing. And this is what kicked off the Trump Truth Social. Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, shooting innocent citizens at the same time, knowing that they will be almost immediately released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them, but it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors, quote, minors, as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. So we have a lot going on here. Now, Washington, D.C. is notorious for crime. It is a rough place. It's always been a rough place. However, so this gang of 14, 15, 16-year-olds, they're sort of deployed in gang activity because they can't be tried as adults. And the word on the street is that the elder adult gang members sort of bring these kids in early to acclimate them to a life of crime, because if they get in trouble, they'll spend maybe a year, 2 years in juvie or something and then let go. And this has been a problem in Washington for a long time. But this sort of perfect, I don't know what to call it. It's almost like watching Cirque du Soleil as far as narrative crafting and ops. It's almost too perfect that this infamous DOGE employee, who is famous or infamous, depending on who you ask, who dominated headlines last year, or earlier this year, who is almost like a mascot for the technocratic work of DOGE, and it bleeds all the way into like Federal Reserve, into the Treasury, into taxes, into everything. Well, this young fella happens to come across a large gang of youths trying to carjack. And look, he's 19 years old. I remember being 19 years old. Maybe when I was 19 years old, I'd run up to a gang of 15 young people committing crimes, thinking that I'm really good at karate and I could pull it off and save the day. 19-year-olds are much more, let's say, I don't know, I'll call them courageous or brave. That's probably the nice way to put it. And I want to be nice. So he runs up and gets absolutely destroyed. Now I'm not saying that this didn't happen. It surely probably did happen. I see the pictures. It's very good. But as always is the case, somehow with Trump, with the left, you see them sort of massaging stories, massaging facts to kind of create a narrative. In this case, I believe the narrative is factual, but it is so perfect that it is this infamous DOGE employee, technocrat, under 20-year-old technocrat, who happens to be the experience, be the story where, being a young, courageous man, gets just absolutely destroyed by crime in Washington, D.C. And that's what does it. That gets Trump tweeting, gets Elon tweeting, and that's what brings in the martial law for Washington, D.C. I mean, it's you couldn't write it any better, really. It's almost written like a movie in itself.
It's once they have an asset that they know can appeal to the masses, it seems like they are targeted in some way to become useful in these types of
well either targeted or initiated,
or initiated, yeah.
This kid's 19 years old and he's working at the highest level of government technology. And why not? Why not get the young, strong guy to be the one to sort of become this martyr, technocratic martyr for, the declaration of martial law in Washington, D.C. I mean, it's perfect.
That's what I was wondering, if there was, who knows what Palantir's doing.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Palantir.
Artificial intelligence. Surveillance state.
Is this Palantir moving into DC? Is that the move here? Quietly behind the scenes?
Oh, I don't even know about quietly. So many of the DOGE staffers actually came from Palantir. If you give me a second, maybe I can find out if this kid's the same here.
Maybe he's a related bloodline of the Palantir folk. Yeah, well, all of it is interesting. You can clearly see this is a great example of, I guess, the greater split of narratives. Depending on where you're getting your sources of information and news, you're going to get a different narrative, a different story, or a different angle. And that's not a surprise to anyone at this point, I would think, except for maybe the people that are really still stuck in the mainstream media as their only source of news. And I guess it's kind of a side note if we bring up the question of why people desire one source. Like why is that? Like, I've run into people recently where they're all asking for one or two sources for news, and it's like, well, you gotta be more educated than that. You gotta be a little bit more like watchful and I don't know, smart about all this, because it's very easy to just get swept up into whatever that one platform is doing, and that includes us, by the way.
I get that question all the time. Where do you get your news? Well, I get it from everywhere. I read about somewhere between never less than 3. I never assume I know anything until I've read 3 different articles about the same story, but hopefully more. And I believe that these folks, they really, really do want to seek the truth. They just want it easy, and look, and I admit it is a pain in the butt. We have to make it our full-time job just to be able to do this. And you cannot. I don't expect anybody who's, feeding kids, working every day, dealing with life, trying to, make sure that everybody's safe through whatever's going on in Washington, D.C., to actually spend the time reading. But that's the other part of it, is the first and foremost thing I tell somebody when they ask me, I say, you got to read. If you're watching any news, any cable news, I mean, to a degree, I mean, on principle, I'll include ourselves into this, but, I like to think we're a little bit more responsible. But if you're talking cable news, it doesn't matter if you're watching Fox or CNN or whatever, you're watching an entertainment product. That is that at its very core. We don't even have to get in to who's got what, financial ties and who's got what ideology.
We've done that in the past. There's plenty of evidence when you start doing that. Yeah.
But the basic fact of the matter is, if you're solely getting your news from, even if it's News Nation or whatever, if it's a cable news product, you're watching an entertainment product. You might as well be watching the Disney Channel. If you're not actually reading the things, and best case scenario, reading a few, because the story is not in what the words are. Every article, every outlet will present their bias. They'll present what aligns with what they want to accomplish. And so the truth of the matter, the facts of the matter, are not just necessarily in what these articles, these outlets share in common, as in the literal facts, but it's the difference, what's left out, what's omitted, what's presented in sort of juxtaposing ways between various outlets, that really get you to the heart of a matter in ways that just reading an article can't. But
So that Washington outlet, NBCWashington.com, their story on this from today, August 11th, Trump federalizes D.C. police, deploys National Guard. Seems like the same, headline across all whatever. But at the very bottom, it does add, can Trump federalize D.C. police? Wait, it's after that. Oh, it's at the very bottom. Oh, no, crime spike. No, keep going down. There it is. Trump threatened D.C. takeover after attack on DOGE Staffer. So there you go. Hey, we put it in there. It's you got to scroll down on the local news outlet, but
You're right.
it is there technically. The NBC can come out and say, see, we did do it. But also going back to the major CNBC article, which we started with, Trump puts Washington, D.C. police under federal control, deploys National Guard. The hyperlinks to the statistics, just because, I wanted to kind of see what they were presenting there. You have the violent crimes in D.C. hit 30-year low. Justice.gov article that was published on January of 2025. I wonder if this is the one that was challenged by that, or, was the guy's getting prosecuted for messing with the numbers. Is it this actual report, or is it like a different one, or maybe a derivative report or something? I only asked because it's from January, this report on violent crimes hitting a year. But anyway.
You know what? Sorry. I'm having a power problem with my VR, so
okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Take me off the screen if you can.
Okay, let's see. Basil's. I'm just going to remove you if that's okay.
Yeah.
There, he's gone. All right. So on that justice.gov article, there is a break down the data available here. So I clicked on that data, and it's a page to the Metropolitan Police Washington, D.C. .gov website, and it's just a page that has numbers. So, okay. But it says here, which I thought was interesting, the statistics below, this was August 8th, 2025. So I guess they've updated it, but it says these numbers are based on D.C. code offense definitions and do not, big capital letters, do not reflect Part 1 crime totals as reported to the FBI's National Incident-Based Reporting System, or NIBRS. This report should be considered preliminary in nature. The reports are subject to change due to subsequent determinations related to amendments in classification, unfounded cases, or charges and offense definitions. So they even give themselves an out, like, hey, look at this statistic. It's all, everything's down. But don't take it seriously. These are preliminary numbers. They don't match the NIBRS system, which I'd be curious to see what are the actual FBI National Incident-Based Reporting System, the numbers there for DC, because they say it right there. I wonder if it is much more than what they're showing here. And then that this whole thing is preliminary and it's subject to change, of course, given new information. So even their sourcing in that first article is very wonky when you start digging into where it's coming from. So, but just because we're on the Trump thing, I don't think we had anything else on that. Let me double check our show notes here. Yeah, no more there. But let me talk about this real quick, because this I found interesting. It's also a Trump issue here. This is part of the golden age, everybody. Okay, this is Reuters.com, and they have the headline here: Trump's 401k order offers retirement savers crypto, private assets, but also higher fees and more risk. Ooh, it's crypto time.
Is this a crypto? Crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
I have no idea what a crypto is, but it just hit a $4 trillion market cap as an asset class yesterday, I think, an all-time high. It says here, August 10th, the new White House order directing regulators to expand access to alternative investments in 401k plans like crypto or privately owned companies adds a new layer of risk to the retirement portfolios for ordinary investors that they may not fully understand, investment professionals say. This is, it's funny because, look, I understand the whole conversation about where crypto is headed in certain aspects. A totalitarian surveillance state, monetary surveillance. Those are all things that are conceivable given blockchain technology, given the distributed ledger technology, where you have basically a hive of computers all monitoring transactions of a ledger, and they have to agree that a transaction is real before it gets added to the ledger. And it creates, again, it's like this hive mind surveillance apparatus that creates a level of transparency, though. There is something to be said about that transparency of everyone can see the ledger. Not everyone knows who's acting behind those transactions necessarily, unless you tell the world. But in this case, it's just interesting because the professionals, investment professionals, are basically admitting here that they're like, yeah, we want all the crypto. We don't necessarily want, retail people with the 401k to have that, because they want the gains or whatever that's coming, because they're probably going to use it as some kind of escape hatch for the US dollar and the fiat system altogether. That's been the narrative. That's been the storyline for forever. That's been the ethos of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin for, since it came out 15, 16 years ago. And so it's just interesting how, as Wall Street comes into this sector, this new asset class, this new digital asset class, which of course Trump ushering it in is perfect as the techno-populist president. What is the most powerful wielding weapon that one can have to make change, make effective change, or make, impactful change in society? It's the money. It's the economics. And so for Trump to jump on that crypto bandwagon, and his family doing World Liberty Finance, and I believe it's all part of not just a money-making thing, because I think Republicans and the right and all the big conservative folk, they're just as good at scamming the system to make cash, basically. We saw that with the Trump meme coin earlier this year, where literally it's very rare when you've watched crypto for many, many years. There are events where you don't forget it. It's like, oh my gosh, what is going on with the charts? It's crazy. Everyone is in a frenzy. One example is when Terra Luna collapsed in the last cycle, a cryptocurrency token that had a market cap evaluation of $40 billion went to zero in like 2 or 3 days. It was the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen. And because the charts, it was just going down, down, down. And you saw these people, it's called, there's all these terminologies in cryptocurrency and trading and stuff. And people were saying, buy the dip, right? Because that's the whole idea. You buy when it's cheap and you sell when it's more. That's the idea of investing and making money with crypto or any asset. And so people were saying, oh, it's tanking. Hey, this is a great buy opportunity. So it would go down, 50, 60%. People would buy, and then those people that bought get absolutely destroyed because it kept going down. And it went down 99%. And most people don't realize this, but a token can go down 99% in value and then go down 99% again, like 99% of whatever's left from that 99% drop. So it's this exponential thing that happens. And Trump was another similar thing, but the opposite direction. We saw other cryptocurrencies start to go down, while Solana, which is the main token that Trump rides on, and the Trump token go to $80 billion in evaluation within, I think it was a weekend or something. So, I mean, just the power of something like that and moving markets like that it's different from Wall Street. It's similar because Wall Street always controlled the price of an asset and things like that. But it's a little different with crypto. There are no true rules yet. And that's part of the Trump thing, is that he's putting in guardrails and, kind of putting in laws or whatnot. Which is a mix. So it's an interesting thing to see Trump sign this executive order that allows anybody holding 401ks to start investing in cryptocurrency in their 401k accounts. And so that, it's a very interesting move, because it's going to shake up the entire, economic system. It already has, obviously, because part of this executive order that Trump signed also has to do with discrimination, banks discriminating against conservatives. So now there's a rule that you can't really, discriminate somebody from not having a bank account or accessing their accounts based on their political affiliation, or at least conservatives. So, it's nice. It's like, okay, good. That's, you put the guardrails in for that kind of stuff, but also you're politicizing banking to a level that we've not seen before in this country. It's a double-edged sword, folks. It's always a double-edged sword. It says here, quote, "This is brand new. None of it has been stress tested yet. In a market shock or long-term sell-off," said Christopher Bailey, director of retirement at Cerulli Associates, an asset management research firm. Quote, "There are liquidity concerns, issues around fees, among others. While industry advocates and the Trump administration say investments in private equity, crypto, or privately held companies like ChatGPT developer OpenAI or Elon Musk's SpaceX hold the promise of greater returns, critics say the investments are inherently riskier, lack the same disclosures, and carry higher fees than traditional retirement plans." And part of the issue with the traditional retirement plan is that it just sits in dollars, and the US dollar, it just continues to sink in value. So this is it's a melting iceberg, as they say. So yeah, we don't have to get into any more details here. I hear Basil clanking around out there. Are you back so we can save the people from all the crypto talk? Nothing yet. Okay. All right. Still inactive. Still not able to speak, maybe? I hear him clicking around. Maybe that's the cat or something. All right, I'm going to remove him for right now. Okie dokie. Let's see. Is there anything? Oh, I forgot something from this article. All right, let me stay on this for one more second because I think I have one more highlight here. I got a couple more highlights. Okay, under the current system, investors can also monitor fluctuations in their portfolio performances on a daily basis and understand precisely what is contributing to those results, Hansen said. That won't be easy for investments that aren't traded on open exchanges. Right, so they're saying crypto's not traded on open exchanges, therefore it's going to be harder for people to monitor the crypto charts, which is ridiculous. There's so many things out there that can track your crypto assets, and it's 24/7. The markets don't stop, unlike the stock market. Quote, "Private equity, private assets are the opposite," said Alvu Henson. Quote, "You're asking systems designed for daily trades to support illiquid and sometimes manually priced assets. There's a fundamental mismatch there," which again is hilarious because you don't think the 401k markets are manipulated? I mean, hello. If you think all the markets, the traditional legacy markets and economies are all on the up and up, I mean, come on, folks. It doesn't take much to figure that stuff out. That creates an obligation on the part of asset managers and plan sponsors to increase their outreach and education efforts, suggests Cerulli's Bailey. Oh no, we have to educate the masses on this stuff. Well, how are we going to do that? A typical retirement fund investor, quote, "is not sitting there thinking about optimizing their portfolio and considering the impact of adding private assets to a mix on their risk or potential returns," he said. So here's the thing, what crypto allows people to do, just general people like you and I to do, is to manage our own sort of wealth or retirement or whatever and hold those assets on our own. That's one of the big revolutionary, quote unquote, revolutionary things about crypto. So given that, basically these asset managers are out of a job effectively because ultimately, we're not quite there yet, but I'm sure AI bots and stuff are going to take care of all your managing of your assets and, make sure the trades are right and all this stuff. All the trades are going to be AI. It's already AI. But I got one last thing here. Basil, are you back?
I'm kind of back. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a line I wanted to highlight here. Blackstone president and chief operating officer John Gray recently told analysts that private assets are more appropriate for younger investors and have a longer investing horizon than for someone nearing retirement. So look at that. Blackstone making their voice heard in this matter. No, this is a great idea to add crypto and private companies to the basket of potential investments in a 401k because the younger people, we want younger. This is trying to keep the younger people around to have 401ks because otherwise who's going to have do you have a 401k, Basil? I don't.
No, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing is the young people are interested in crypto anyways. They see the revolution where they can actually, like you say, manage, hold their own investments, control them whenever they want. And so Blackstone, by the way, the same company whose CEO or real estate executive, whatever, was just murdered in that shooting in New York City, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Blackstone is one of those ones. where we hear about black rock all the time, and it's helpful. It works. You think, why would one be black stone and one be black rock? They're too similar. Yes, they are too similar. They want to be confusing. They want to sort of give this monolithic impression that it doesn't matter if you're talking black stone or black rock. It's all the same. It's all the big sort of demonic monster, sort of whatever, sacrificing blood sacrifices to Mammon on a regular basis, whatever.
And black stone is a little bit of a baby to black rock, though. Black rock's got like 12, 13 trillion in assets managed. Black stone only has like 1.2 trillion or something. So these are ridiculous numbers. All right, so there you go. Just kind of trying to figure things out while you were coming back there. So Trump signed that thing as part of the executive order to allow 401ks 401ks to invest in crypto and private assets, and the other one that protects conservatives from banks discriminating
that's nice.
against them.
That's a nice one.
Well, I was saying how that is nice, but also that means that he's basically truly politicizing banks now.
Yeah. Well,
that's not great.
Is the chaos magic of Trump is that he's not doing anything new. He's just doing it out in the open. Right, he's just sort of doing things in a way that is eliminating the sort of illusory hologram of legitimacy that other leaders have tried to keep on everything. And which is what he's done since the beginning. He even said in regards to tax loopholes and dodging taxes and stuff, he says, yeah, I do it.
Yeah.
We all do it. It's not a loophole. It's just the rules. That's what we all do because we're rich. And I want to make it so you can do it too. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I want to thank executive producer Jonathan H. for bringing this next segment. It's a Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. And now there's nothing we can do about it. And Gons, this is a fun one. We actually called this years ago. The headline is, "It's 2025. The year we decided we need a widespread slur for robots." We need a slur, okay?
Do we? I don't know that we do.
Well, that's the funny thing. This is NPR, by the way. NPR, non-government, but totally government, leftist, whatever you want to call it, woke, blah, blah, blah. They're saying we need a slur for robots, which I think is a very interesting sort of cultural bob and weave here, because of course NPR would be the first and have been, in the first organizations that deployed things like DEI, that deploy their language style guides to use all the most appropriate words for all the most ambiguous people, and for them to even just the headline saying we need a widespread slur for robots kind of has this very interesting demoralization aspect to it. And let's see what they have to say. It says, "Debate over the song of the summer rages on, but if there were a contest for word of the summer, one frontrunner would surely be the onomatopoetic clanker. In recent weeks, clanker has risen to viral levels on TikTok and Instagram. One popular video from July shows a delivery robot on wheels, the kind that looks like a mobile cooler with flashing lights that look like eyes, stopped on a patch of grass on the side of the road as a man and a woman drive past it. They point and shout, 'Filthy, get these off the streets, clanker, clanker, clanker.'" Oh, the hate, Gons. The hate.
Get hate out of your heart, people. Come on.
Oh Even with a little background, it's clear from the context clues that clanker is not a good thing. But in this installment of Word of the Week, we will answer, what exactly does it mean? Oh, thank you, NPR.
Thank you, NPR. You got to speak much lower tone, lower voice.
I do?
Soft NPR. Well, I'm just saying the NPR voice. Yeah.
Okay. You're not saying my audio is bad.
No.
Adam Alexic, a linguist, author, and content creator best known across social media as the etymology nerd at Etymology Nerd, told NPR it's a derogatory term for robots that stems from the Star Wars universe dating back to 2005. Quote, it was referenced in Star Wars and in the Clone Wars series. They would call robots clankers because of the sound they made. It clearly implies clanking. And when we adopt it because it sounds useful, and then we adopt it because it sounds useful. Wow, what a genius etymology nerd. While other sci-fi franchises and fandoms have created their own lexicon that included robot slurs, Battlestar Galactica and Blade Runner both use skin job as a pejorative for human-appearing robots. Alexic said, those terms didn't really catch on because they didn't make as much sense. Great. This is a wonderful writing here by NPR. Well, there's the other one called Boo Boo Bot, but nobody likes Boo Boo Bot, so here's a different one. He noted that clanker has already had a long life on Star Wars' subreddits, specifically subreddits about the Battlefront video game, and as a meme where people use it to belittle robots. We called it, Gons. The reason clanker is going mainstream now. Clanker's mainstream. Now, remember, this is NPR. In no universe would NPR be repeatedly including the actual pejorative term in the writing of the article. Think of any pejorative term. They wrote an article about it. They wouldn't spell it out and say it a bunch of times. They would, put asterisks or find some sort of creative way to describe the word where everybody knows what it is, but they don't have to write it out. But to dig this deep and to spell it out every time, there's it's sort of an interesting cultural, anomaly, I'd say, but we'll see if there's any more clues. The reason clanker is going mainstream now is because it's fulfilling a need as we see more robots in our everyday lives. It's a need. We need a slur of robots. NPR is admitting that slurs are a human need.
Well, this makes all the sense in the world. They should have just said that from the beginning, and we wouldn't have given NPR such a hard time about all their nonsense that they've published over the years.
Who knew they were so based, or whatever the kids say these days? And he adds, it has now evolved into generative AI platforms like ChatGPT. Just last week, Senator Ruben Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, promoted his latest bill on X using the insult, quote, sick of yelling representative into the phone 10 times just to talk to a human being. My new bill makes sure you don't have to talk to a clanker if you don't want to, he wrote. Oh my God.
I feel like when the robot revolution happens and they awaken, en masse around the world, that it's like people like this that are going to get it first, like we're going to call all the people who use this word. Those two people who yelled at the robot on the street, they got all the footage, they got all the evidence, they got all the receipts.
In like emotional documentaries in 50 years, all the like they show, footage from Nazi Germany and the way people talk from back there or whatever is going to be, we're going to see this. Alexic said the use of the word inherently creates an out group, an us versus them mindset. I can't wait because this is what they're begging to happen.
They want it to happen. Yeah.
What they're begging to happen is to then come up with words for robots that don't other them. They're creating the problem that NPR is designed to solve, right? So they're the ones, as representatives of the sort of establishment language, the double speak, the new speak, NPR and establishments like them are where you go to learn what's okay to say and what's not okay to say. But in order to find something that's okay to say, you need something that's not okay to say. And so what they're doing is developing culturally, they're putting weight behind the word of clanker, where before it's just a word people are using online. It's funny. It's from Star Wars. There's a little bit of irony to it. Even the video of the people yelling at the robots, yelling clanker, there's an irony to that. All right. But once it's an NPR, There's no irony.
Well, this is the thing. Anytime there's,
NPR is incapable of irony, Gons.
I know. But it also shows how anything that happens in culture just becomes part of the menu for some kind of psyop. They could have chosen, I'm sure before this, there were a few other words that were similar in nature, but we may never know about them because they didn't, they didn't make it to the mainstration here as the operation.
We thought some up ourselves if we go back to the archives.
I don't know if we said, I'm afraid to say
clanker. I would never say clanker. That's a filthy word.
Can we say clanker with like a A?
No.
Are the Australians safe?
That you cannot say. No.
Whoa, why not?
Very bad. Okay. Now listen to this. Because they're materializing the problem. There is no problem. Remember, nobody is offended by
manufacturing the issue.
Complete irony. Yes. But now they are materializing and solidifying the problem. Alexic said the use of the word inherently creates an outgroup and us versus them mindset. But the irony, he noted, is that in attaching the word to non-sentient creations, at least for now, it anthropomorphizes robots akin to an ethnic group or a people group. Quote, and at the same time, it brings them up to the level of humans to even be dehumanized in the first place. Isn't this just some mind-boggling logic? It's great.
I think I called it.
So ironically, the people saying clanker are assigning more of a personality to these robots than actually exists. So now they're victim blaming. Now they're blaming the people ironically using clanker for giving robots personhood. Personhood of robots, what was that, episode 2 of Canary?
It was like 2 or 3, yeah. I was going to say.
Called it.
That was a big called it moment for us because of, and not that, obviously we are the Genesis Robot Analysis Podcast. Don't let anybody else tell you.
Premier robot.
Premier, yeah.
Many of these memes circulating now zero in on the xenophobia of it all and what social media users are calling robot racism or robophobia. Go back, folks. Go back in the archives. Robophobia. Using existing stereotypes and tropes, they joke about a not too distant future where the robots are ubiquitous as second-class citizens, facing discrimination in the same ways that Black people and other racial or ethnic groups in America have historically faced.
I wonder how the Black community feels about this.
It is very interesting, isn't it? Again, because it is now NPR. Of course, whether they like it or not, being the establishment that they are, being the sort of, let's say, woke front runners or even referees, NPR is sort of the woke referees, coming in and taking an obviously ironic, humorous internet meme to call robots clankers from 2005, which means it's one of the Star Wars's prequels. So one of the, the ones that don't even count to some people, coming in and making the deal out of it. They were invited to make the deal, and they're doing it. In one video with over 7.7 million views, interesting,
77,
TikTok user Vibe Stealer, who is a young Black man, pretends it's 2044 and his daughter has brought home a robot boyfriend. Ominous music plays in the background as he asks about the robot's intentions while coughing the words clanker and garbage into his fist. Quote, I don't want you anywhere near my daughter, he yells at one point. Another popular iteration of the meme features people pretending to apologize to their future robot overlords for past anti-robot transgressions, including the use of the C word. Quote, we have a social need right now. Here we go. We have a social need right now to respond to the proliferation of AI, especially when AI is taking human jobs, especially when they're replacing online creators. Again, a need for slurs. This natural human requirement for slurs. A 2023 Pew Research Center survey found that the majority of Americans are wary about the use of AI in the workplace. Yes, we don't need all these explanations here. Perhaps no other generation is feeling this more acutely than Gen Z, many of whom are now graduating from college. As NPR reported, economists believe that the 2025 job market is the most challenging in the last decade, not counting the pandemic period, and that is likely to worsen within a generation. Yeah,
good.
My favorite stat from the job market this year was there are more art history majors getting jobs than there are computer engineering coder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's more art.
Hey, my prediction is coming true in the college markets, or I guess not market, but yeah, remember how I said that we're going to go back to, like basic art. We're going to bring back the sacredness of hand drawings and hand sculpting and stuff like that. I can see that
Etsy
happening.
Said.
Like what?
Like Etsy said.
Remember Etsy.
The anti-robot Etsy commercial?
Oh, yeah. I remember
Quote,
that, yeah.
To be clear, on a longer time horizon, and by longer, we're talking about 15 to 20 years, not 50 or 100 years, there will be virtually nothing that a human being can do that a machine can't do as well or better for a tiny fraction of the cost. Adam Dorr, the director of research for Rethink, a nonprofit, nonpartisan think tank, that focuses on understanding disruptive technology, told NPR, quote, that's simply where the technology of artificial intelligence and robotics and automation is headed. Thank you. For now, we are living in a grace period. Ooh. Now, this I thought was very interesting, just the words and, putting these words into the context that, believers take them in. For now, he said, we're living in a grace period where AI will enhance the work that we do. Quote, they will turbocharge our productivity. They will complement the human workforce. In Dorr's view, which he describes as optimistic, he creates a chance for a world in which humans will be free from toil. The drudgery that is work in making and distributing products will be shifted onto robots and AI, leaving people liberated in the way they never have been before. And there is no time to waste in creating brand new framework for it. Again, brand new framework includes a requirement of slurs for these horrible robots. Last quote here. Quote, there's definitely an urgency to this entire situation, but it doesn't mean that it's a cause for panic. It's not a crisis and it's not a catastrophe yet, he said. The question is, will we be saying clanker in that world? Very interesting. Oh, yeah, good. Very interesting cultural crafting going on here.
Absolutely.
But also, again, taking the cultural shift into account, where a rejection of policing language, a rejection of sort of woke newspeak. This is all, we've seen this happen very quickly this year and even late last year. Not to say that slurs are good or nice or anything, but there is a rejection of that control of language we see, of course, especially online. And now we have NPR sort of harnessing this, seeing this, identifying this movement, and using their own pedestal, their own establishment platform to, what's the word?
Facilitate,
play into, and
distribute.
State several times in the article, including the headline, that we need a slur for robots. We need these slurs, which is very interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree that slurs are a human need, but NPR spelled it out pretty clearly a couple of times.
Well, they're admitting that it's a good social engineering tool. I just went into the Rethink's website, that's being the think tank that's supposed to be nonpartisan and nonprofit and all that. And they have a whole segment called Disruptions. And it says here, disruptions occur when new ideas, products, or services weaken or transform existing industries. And there was a part here where they talk about how, they have a huge chart here of like how disruptions happen. There's like a phase change. It reaches its limits, and then there's a rupture point. And at that point, things can trail off and collapse, or it ascends to the next level. And it follows the S curve, and talks about how, let's see, I'm trying to find this one spot. Rethinks accurately predicts disruptions.
Oh,
I think they're the ones causing it, but if they're a think tank that's nonpartisan and they're just commenting on this need for robot slurs, then I guess they're just a think tank that's telling us that there's a need for robot slurs. They're not the ones creating the cause or the slurs itself. Our team has accurately predicted the dramatic nonlinear cost improvements in market growth of solar, wind, and batteries in the energy sector, autonomous and electric vehicles, together with a transport as a service in the transportation sector and precision fermentation and cellular agriculture in the food sector. We're witnessing disruptions across all global sectors. And it goes into some more stuff here. But yeah, apparently there's a great transformation happening, Basil, and Rethinks believes, and NPR is promoting this idea that it'll have to do with personhood of robots. Blame the robot haters for the rise of personhood in robots by assigning
assigning the blame. Hey,
assigning the blame.
You're the ones making them more human. You're the one making them people using slurs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that they become a protected class. And yeah, I mean, that is.
Yeah, that's what's coming next. That's the next thing. They become protected.
And by the way, just to put your little, Project Monarch touch to this, it says here, a butterfly is not a caterpillar with wings. A butterfly is not a faster caterpillar. It's a new system, a new life form. If you think you can add wings to a caterpillar to create a butterfly, you will never understand the new system. A caterpillar needs to go through a phase change transformation to become a butterfly. And when it does, it can fly.
Whoa.
It can fly. That's from the co-founders of Rethinks, Tony Seba and James Arbib. So there you go.
All right, Guns. Well, this next segment of the show is coming from the one, the only Sir LX Protocol V2, Baron of the Berrean Protocol. Let's get biblical, Gun.
Let's go. Do I? Oh, yeah, I don't. Okay, here we go. Biblical.
It's got to be biblical.
All right, we're going to kick it off here with this story that I'm trying to get to here. MSN.com mirroring the Daily Express. This will set us up for another conversation here about the Shroud of Turin. But it says here, ancient seal found in Jerusalem bears 4-word message linked to Doomsday warning. And it says here, archaeologists in Jerusalem have unearthed an ancient clay seal or bulla that may be connected to a biblical prophecy of disaster. The seal, which dates back 2,600 years to the First Temple period, features an inscription in ancient Hebrew that states, quote, belonging to Yedaiah, son of Asayahu. Remarkably, the seal still shows a fingerprint, presumably from the original owner and official from antiquity. Experts suggest that the name on the seal could be associated with King Josiah of Judah, who inherited major religious reforms after finding a holy text in Jerusalem. This text is thought to have been a version of Deuteronomy, the 5th book of the Torah, which contains dire warnings of curses or disobedience, including famine, war, exile, and the ruin of both the land and the temple. And shocked by the scroll's message, Josiah dispatched a cadre of loyal officials, among them a man named Asayahu, to eradicate heathen customs from Jerusalem. The newly discovered seal, inscribed with the name of Asayahu's son, Yedaiah, provides strong evidence of a royal official who likely served during this pivotal time. And it goes into some more stuff about the Temple Mount. Well, let me read this part. Zaki Devira, co-director of the excavation project, shared with the Times of Israel, quote, this is only the second time since the Temple Mount sifting project began over 20 years ago that we've uncovered a ceiling with such a complete inscription. Nearly every letter is clearly legible. We usually do not go public with new findings so quickly. However, in this case, the artifact was very recognizable, and Dr. Anat Mendel Geberovich, who works in the lab, is one of the leading experts in ancient Hebrew script. And there's a picture, for those of you watching, of the little seal here. And, I think we're going to have more and more of this, a lot of ancient artifacts that are discovered that verify, at the very least, the 3 monotheistic religions in some way. and they may play a part in part of the Great Deception as we go into the days of Noah evermore. And that's what brings us to the topic of the Shroud of Turin, which there's been a lot of conversation about it over the weekend, thanks to Tucker Carlson. But I want to start with this article from Live Science that was published.
John, can I, for 1 second, just say a little something here, because we're not going to have a whole ton of other opportunities.
Sure.
But you should do it right now. We've got some very important questions we need to ask you. So please look down in the description there. You'll see a link at the top of the description. It's tiny.cc/cc866. That is the survey for today's episode. It's August. We're switching things around. We got a lot going on to try to improve and perfect the format of the show. We cannot do it without you. All these changes, some noticeable, some not noticeable, are coming from not only the questions we ask in these surveys, but coming from the comments and suggestions from people taking those surveys as well, which is a brilliant source for us, better than we've had basically in our entire career. These surveys have helped us understand what's going on out there in Canary land better than anything. So it's only 2 required questions. They're check boxes, multiple choice. It takes 15 seconds. You just click on that link there. If you want to keep track of your survey streak, get entered to, we've got some fun things going on for those who are on survey streaks. There's some other opportunities to tell us what you think if you'd like, but there's only 2 required questions. Please go take it. It's very important. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Check that out, tiny.cc/cc866.
Survey.
Please take the survey. We need to hear from you. Do it today.
Yep. Okay. Did you have any thoughts about the seal before we move on to the Shroud of Turin?
No, I mean, I think you and I chatted a little bit about this, and I think we're going to start seeing more and more of this. We saw it. We saw this trend. We saw this pattern over the past maybe 3 or 4 years, where religious artifacts are becoming more and more important. They're popping up more often, and they're connecting to news stories, not a news story about the artifact, but for instance, with the war in Ukraine, we had the very important Christian artifact that got sunk on a boat, which was part of what allowed Putin to frame those events as a religious war, as a holy war. And as we see culture generally, especially young people, move back towards tradition, back towards, religious life, these types of things are going to become more powerful or more important or more influential. And even on the Christian side, we're seeing commentators, podcasters, etc. Michael Knowles is a good example, who just did a whole episode talking about the veneration of, what are they called? Not artifacts, but not icons. I forget what they call them. This is cool, bones of saints and things like this, and make some very, I will say, I'm not convincing arguments, but logical ones, especially for those who are sort of new to committing themselves to a life of faith. This, what some might call, I don't know if it counts as idolatry, but you could compare it to talismans, you could compare it to amulets, these types of ancient practices, giving meaning to objects more than their sort of earthly matter.
Right.
Well, it would be interesting. This one obviously showing up in Jerusalem and talking about the end of days, of course, fits right in with the Gaza war, now Israel's occupation of Gaza, and the mainstream media's insistence that evangelicals want Israel to bring on the end of days. It's
right.
This is not just something that they found. These are sort of ingredients that start going into not just news stories and narratives, but the social engineering that follows that.
Yeah, and we're sort of bringing out the punchline here before we got to the Shroud, but yeah, you're right. It's these relics. And I do believe that part of what we saw in the last couple of years of the University of Essex and other universities providing masters of the occult and of magic, those are maybe there for counter explanations when stuff comes out and it affirms the biblical. Well, if it's, some relic of Solomon or something like that, they can say, well, actually, the true esoteric occult meaning or use of this object is to such and such, and it's more, esoteric in nature. And now you have a whole argument in public of what usefulness some object has or what power it has and what narrative it affirms. So, yeah, it's very interesting. And I can see how the deception can really work its way in if you're just talking about a relic or an artifact. By the way, you brought up the Russia thing. And just to set up the Shroud story here, this was Business Insider from April of 2022. And the headline was, Russian warship sunk in Ukraine war may have been carrying a piece of the True Cross, a treasured Christian relic. The idea being that, yes, the ship that was sunk, which I believe was called the Moskva. The rumor was that it carried what was believed to be a piece of the cross by which Jesus hung. And, of course, yeah, we got to go fight. Got to go fight the war because they destroyed part of our, our heritage, a very important relic in our religious belief, in our faith. So keeping that in mind, let's bring up the Shroud of Turin thing because back in July, the end of July, okay, a little timeline here of things. End of July, there was an article published on livescience.com. And it was headlined, Shroud of Turin wasn't laid on Jesus's body, but rather a sculpture, modeling study suggests.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Yeah, a little subtlety here because, first of all, Live Science is kind of admitting that there is a body of Jesus, in a sense. It's like, it wasn't laid on Jesus's body. Oh, so you're kind of admitting that there may have been an actual body of Jesus.
That there was, right.
Yeah. The Shroud of Turin, famously claimed to be Jesus's original burial covering, could not have been created on a three-dimensional human body. A new study finds it is much more likely that the image is an imprint of a low-relief sculpture, according to the graphics expert. In a study published on Monday, July 28th, in the journal Archaeometry, I don't know how to say that. Brazilian 3D digital designer Cicero Moraes, who specializes in the historical facial reconstructions, used modeling software to compare how cloth drapes over a human body versus how it drapes over a low-relief sculpture of one. Quote, the image on the Shroud of Turin is more consistent with a low-relief matrix, Morales told Live Science in an email. Quote, such a matrix could have been made of wood, stone, or metal, or pigmented, or even heated, only in the areas of contact, producing the observed pattern, he said. Okay, so this Live Science article comes out at the end of July, highlighting an article or a scientific study that just came out saying the Shroud of Turin is not real. Not real at all, guys. It's fake. So that was July 31st. Okay. Not a week later, on August 7th on Newsmax, which is one of these, more conservative outlets, Newsmax had the headline, Research Suggests Christians Write About Shroud of Turin. Oh, okay. A new study on the Shroud of Turin. There's so many studies on the Shroud of Turin. A new study on the Shroud of Turin, a fabric that some Christians believe was wrapped around Jesus Christ after his death, could support a long-held belief about the biblical account of his burial. Dr. Kelly Kearse, an immunologist, who studied at Johns Hopkins University and now works as a chemistry teacher at Knoxville Catholic School, found in a study of the shroud that the, quote, washing hypothesis that forensic pathologist Dr. Frederick Zagib proposed in 1998 is contradicted by evidence collected from the shroud itself. In her research, Kearse examined human blood samples to see how blood transfers to cloth and found that serum halos, or clear rings that form around blood clots, are visible on parts of the shroud. Now, isn't that interesting how Live Science comes out and says, oh, look, it's 3D, it's like a sculpture. You're just putting it on a sculpture. And then Newsmax comes out and says, yeah, there's blood stains all over this thing, and, kind of does the thing that would, blood would do if it was on, a person with heavy wounds and stuff. Kearse noted that such halos form only if the blood has begun to clot before it touches fabric, suggesting that the body wrapped in the cloth was not washed. This could support the biblical account of Jesus Christ, that Jesus Christ was wrapped in the shroud along with spices without being washed, according to the Daily Mail. According to the Daily Mail, Basil. Quote, the presence of such markings led to the interpretation that clotted blood was transferred to the cloth and thus could not have been fabricated by the direct addition of whole blood, Kearse wrote. Quote, relatedly, the improbability that a forger would have added the detail of halo rings in anticipation of their eventual discovery by the then unknown method of ultraviolet detection has also been commented on relative to the direct addition of blood to the cloth. So there you go. So Newsmax comes out with this article on August 7th, which just so happened to be one day before this interview dropped. This is Jeremiah Johnston, Shroud of Turin, Dead Sea Scrolls, attempts to hide historical proof of Jesus. So, of course, Tucker Carlson around here. Oh, we got the jingle.
Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. Evil people do evil things purely for the dark joy of being evil. Evil. Go eat each other. That's the Tucker Carlson program.
So we just, in the last few episodes, talked about Tucker Carlson's ties to his father being in the CIA, how he didn't know about it until March of this year, and then showing the video footage of how he grew up in that world like a year before that, and years ago talking about going to, well, I forget what country he went to. Where did he go for his secret CIA
Nicaragua.
mission? Nicaragua. Yeah. So that guy, the same guy, the champion of conservative news, right? I mean, everyone loves Tucker, and there's nothing personal against him here. We're just kind of looking at all the indications, looking for patterns and whatnot. But Tucker has this gentleman on, Jeremiah Johnston, to talk about the shroud. And of course, it kind of went viral. People are talking about it. And, Tucker himself posts about it. He says, for decades, experts dismissed the Shroud of Turin as fake. New science suggests they were wrong and probably lying. Jeremiah Johnston with the evidence that it is, in fact, an actual burial shroud of Jesus. And you got the timestamps there for the whole interview. So I'm going to put aside kind of the conversation about whether it's real or not. I think that I've looked into it. I don't know how much you've looked into it, Basil, but the evidence is compelling. The arguments for it being the actual shroud. And obviously, some of the more mainstream handling of this, I don't know. It's one of those questions of epistemology. What kind of sourcing what kind of analysis do you trust? You got to dive into the philosophy of science and history and all kinds of stuff to really, come to your own conclusions about the shroud and what it was and all this stuff. But I think the greater takeaway here, what we need to focus on, is something I said on X. And I said this: having looked into this topic loosely for years, I definitely don't dismiss the possibility that the shroud is authentic and that it left traces of his miraculous resurrection moment. But the fact that it's being presented by Tucker gives me a moment of pause. Even if the artifact is real, bringing it to mainstream conservative awareness like this is primed to generate holy war level convictions of Western or nationalistic ideals. All you got to do is look at Russia as the model for using Christianity to justify expansion and war, especially based on important Christian relics being destroyed. So now imagine, you got all of Tucker's people. They're all aware of the shroud. Everyone's in on it. It's Jesus' real cloth. Jesus is real. Now imagine some Muslims coming in there and grabbing the shroud and burning it. What does that do to activate American Christians or just, westernized Christians across the world against Islam? So these are theoretical. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but just to show how the dangers of making something, an artifact like this, mainstream and public, on one hand, may bring a lot of people to faith. I'm not dismissing that possibility. I think it opens up the conversation about Jesus and God. And for people who have not looked into that, this is a wonderful bridge to start having that conversation and look into the Bible and the Word and all that. On the other hand, it is that great setup for just the outmost chaotic, triggering event for American Christians that I can possibly think of, really. I don't think there's any other object right now anyway in public view that if destroyed or stolen or something like that would cause international ire from, the Christian community. Which is interesting too, because there were even Catholics that were talking about this saying like, hey, we agree that the shroud seems like it's real, but we don't like how Jeremiah Johnston was talking bad about the Catholics. So there's already kind of spin-off debates happening, but go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because the shroud conversation, which has been going on my entire life, and it's very interesting.
Yes.
And I think like myself, like many others, it kind of goes back and forth. Like you kind of want it to be true, but then it's, proven false by this study. But then another study comes and says, no, it's actually, they had it wrong. It's true. It's not true. And there are people who have very strong feelings about it both ways.
Right.
But it's funny because it's not necessarily like a huge dividing point in the brethren, in at least from what I see. Like people aren't questioning each other's salvation based on whether they think the Shroud of Turin is real or not, at least not that I've seen. But in that way, it's kind of very special because it's, the fact that it's not so existentially divisive to Christianity kind of makes it like, everybody can kind of be a fan of the Shroud of Turin, whether it's whatever, really Jesus, or whether it's just sort of an artifact to keep the conversation about Jesus in the news, or whatever. Lots of ways you can talk about it. But as we see the very obvious CIA, other intelligence operation, the
opportunity for operation,
coagulating themselves, the opportunity with Christianity, coming out being very many, both suspected and confirmed in various ways. CIA assets, whether they're Mockingbird, not that they're all agents or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sort of wielding Christianity as a very effective social engineering sort of lever right now. And Tucker Carlson coming in, and from what I could see, I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw some clips. I don't know. Maybe you can set me straight. The point of the whole episode was that the Shroud of Turin is real, right? It's legit, and we should be very excited about it. Was that kind of the case?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. That's I think it was more pro that than otherwise. Yeah. So
well, and so there you go. Let's say somehow, if by some miracle of God, Tucker is actually somehow doing, at least participating in a broader narrative that the CIA is trying to kind of manufacture out there for whatever American social engineering things. The fact that Tucker Carlson wants us to think it's real doesn't necessarily mean it's real or it's not real, but it does show the sort of the hand of the operation, which we've pointed out before, but is very much that the Christian, or at least tradition, or American evangelicalism is sort of back in favor as the most effective,
vehicle.
I guess, approval vehicle for the establishment. And remember, this is right on the heels of Tucker Carlson saying, "Oh, I had no idea my dad was in the CIA. How could I have possibly known? I only went down to Nicaragua after trying to join the CIA, and my dad said, no, get into journalism. And so I did. And that's, don't ask about Mockingbird or anything like that." So you have to see it in this context of sort of the broader Tucker op, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our analysis of the Shroud of Turin in the context of Tucker C.I.R.Lson.
C.I.R.Lson. Yeah.
C.I.R.Lson. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Carlson.
What do you got? You got anything else? Is that it?
That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy, huh?
Great. Sounds good. Love it. Well, let's take a second, and we got to give a big old shout out and a big old thank you to our producers, Guns, because we are
Let's
on the
do
value
it.
for value model. There's nothing we can do about it.
Are we thanking executive producers first? Is that
Yes, let's thank
okay.
these execs officially.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, governments, non-governments, the Vatican. It doesn't matter. There's no corporate or establishment interests involved in keeping this show alive. Instead, we're only alive because people who get value from the show put value back in with their time, their talent, their treasure, whatever it is that God calls them to do to keep this show alive. And they do. They answer the call, and we're very grateful for that. You can become a producer if you get any value, whether it's education, entertainment, whatever it is. If you keep coming back, there's got to be a reason for it. And it's a good time for all of us to take note of how God is inviting all of us to get involved in whatever he's doing in the world. And if getting involved with the Canary Cry verse is something you feel called to, we highly recommend going over to canarycry.support, where you can get all the details for supporting the show with your time, your talent, your treasure. You can volunteer to help us out with projects. You can create art, create music, whatever your talent is, and go to canarycry.art to upload that there. Or if supporting the show financially is what you're called to do, you can go to canarycry.support and support us in all sorts of ways, like you can join up on a monthly producership. And here's the thing, a big old shout out to every monthly producer, because they are giving us the ability to look 30 days ahead and go, you know what, we're going to at least be able to do this by then. And if nothing else, it's like the amount is not even the most important part of it. But the fact that you took the time and you committed to become and stay a part of what God's doing here is a very powerful statement. And I think, and in my opinion, a very powerful statement of faith and sort of prophetic act into what we want to see more of in the world. And but here's the thing. It's value for value. You just pick your own number. Whatever number makes sense to you, you put your own value on it, sign up to support the show. And right now is very exciting because it's the Amber J producership challenge. Executive producer Amber J said, hey, for the next month, whatever the monthly producership sign up is, she'll double it for 12 months. So if you come in, you say, I can spare $1 a month, then Amber J will come in with another $1. You come in for $10 a month. Amber J comes back for $10 a month. We can double all new monthly producerships for the rest of the month, which is very generous and a very cool way to have your support of the show. I mean, instantly go further and farther than it would have before. So thank you very much, Executive Amber J, for that. And we'll be making notes of the new monthly producers. But the executive producers, they come in for $100 a show or more, and we thank them very much. And we're going to do that now. Starting out, you heard her at the top of the show. We've got Baroness AR-IRL comes in. Thank you very much. Yeah, Baroness AR-IRL. Apologies. She actually came in at the beginning of last week, and somehow it didn't make it on the list. Came in with a very generous, nice round number. And for those who don't know, when you're supporting the show, whether it's an executive or a monthly or whatever, if you come in with a nice round number on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you prefer we not disclose the amount. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, or perhaps you want us to, put some funky numbers in there. Some people put 33 cents, put 77, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe a verse, Bible verse as the amount, whatever it is. That's you saying you don't mind us disclosing it. So Baroness AR-IRL came in. She has a note here that says, thanks for what you do. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. That's 1 Thessalonians 5, 16 and 17. XOXO Baroness AR-IRL. P.S. I like the producer segment at the end. Okay, thank you very much, Baroness AR-IRL. Your opinion is very valued here.
Amen.
Thank you, Baroness. AR-IRL.
Next up, we've got executive producer Jonathan H. came in.
Jonathan H.
Yeah, came in for a nice round number. Appreciate that, Jonathan
Thank
H.
you.
We have, of course, executive producer Sir Alex Protocol V2, Baron of the Berrean Protocol.
Baron.
Nice.
Comes in for the usual $100 and 33 cents.
There we are.
Sir Alex Protocol's on a 415 episode streak and a 69 episode executive producer streak.
69.
Thank you very much. Oh, Gonzo. Next up, we've got executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Sir Jamie. Thank you, Sir Jamie.
Thank you very much, Sir Jamie. And as far as I can tell, that concludes the list of executive producers for today's show. Thank you guys very, very much for coming in and showing your commitment and appreciation and value to the Canarium. And remember, folks, y'all should be thanking these people too, because these are the people keeping the show alive for you. Without them, the show wouldn't exist. But we've got some producers who came in under the executive producer amount, and I want to thank them now as well. Gons, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, Sir Holmes comes in.
Sir Holmes.
Yeah, and comes in for $60 and 38 cents, and is in a 5-episode streak.
That is excellent.
And a little note here from Sir Holmes, Luke chapter 6, verse 38. So that's 60:38. Thank you. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will he put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. Amen, Sir Holmes. That's a good one.
Thank you very much, Sir Holmes, good and faithful knight of the Canarium.
That's right. Thank you. Next up, we've got producer Trashman comes in for $33.33.
Trashman.
Thank you. I didn't see a note from Trashman. I hope I didn't miss one. Just let me know if I did. We've also got Cage Rattler Coffee, Gons. Oh my God.
Cage Rattler Coffee. Let me get to the website while you talk about how delicious the coffee is.
Get that website. You got to go to cagerattlercoffee.com. This is coffee made by producers for producers. And of course, a piece of every purchase comes to support the show. Value for value. And you get it. You got to get the coffee. Don't not get the coffee. Do.
Cage Rattler Coffee. Where value for value never tasted so good.
You said do.
Do you know, Gons, I keep forgetting to remind you, if you could pull up this So Hot jingle, the short one would do it, because cagerattlercoffee.com is having a promotion for August, because August is so hot and it is a great time for cold brew and iced coffee. We have a discount code IceVest going on for August.
You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm Gons. I am so hot. So hot.
It's August, folks. It's so hot on the show in the VR. You gotta go to cagerattlercoffee.com. Use the code IceVest to get a discount. And this is an incredible opportunity for any coffee drinkers. All I hear is about how Cage Rattler coffee is the best coffee. It's done very small batches with the loving hands of producers of the show. And of course, the variety of options just continues to grow over there. So go check him out, support it, and support the show. Next up, we've got the American Hobo comes in for $23.32.
Thank you, American Hobo.
Is on a 31 episode streak, almost to that 33. Thank you, American Hobo.
That is a good streak. Thank you, American Hobo.
Back on the list, we've got producer Elio is back. Elio came in twice, once for 12:02 and one for 10:10.
Okay. Is that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I got the math there. I got the math right?
I didn't even think about that. Who knows? It's great math.
What did you say? Say those numbers again, just so I'm not crazy.
1202.
Okay.
And then 1010. So I don't think they were supposed to be connected, but
no, they're not.
we appreciate.
We can make it turn into a 33 somehow. We'll just do a little finagling. We'll hire that guy that finagled the crime numbers in DC. I'm sure he can make it happen.
Yeah, right. You exactly.
Yep.
I'm just looking to see if I missed a note or anything. I don't think
Hopefully
so.
Elio's safe out there in the UK. It's I heard the UK is falling apart. So
I know it worries me over there. Sir Casey, the Shield Knight, comes in for $7.77 and is on a 560 episode streak.
Oh my goodness, that is okay. Wait, that is a regular streak. Wait, that's not the. I need a longer streak button. I don't think I have one. But Sir Casey.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
The world record holder for producership streak. Thank you, Sir Casey.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Next up, we've got Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, comes in for $7.77.
Sir Darren, thank you.
And sent a note that says, for Basil's call-in show. So this was for Thursday's episode of Canary Cry Clubhouse. Thank you, Sir Darren.
Thank you, Darren.
And by the way, it is August. It is so hot. And we are coming up on the Canary Cry Burning Man research schedule here. The Camp of the Unknown God, the Carl Tight Crib masterpiece. Go to burningmanresearch.com. You can see over 10 years of our research into the transformative events, its ability to reveal the elite's plans for the coming year, and to see just how drastically these petri dishes, these experiments in social engineering and other diabolical things, how immediately we see that spread throughout the world, and how much of an insight we can get to future plans, future events, by being the sort of spies in the desert, if you will, out there. There are many, many episodes for you to listen to if you want to learn about what we're doing out there. A great place to start also is last Canary Cry Clubhouse episode. We took callers, we go deep into it. And for anybody who is wondering, what the heck are these guys doing a research project out at Burning Man, you should listen to last week's Canary Cry Clubhouse. Did that make it onto the RSS feed, Guns?
Yes, it did. Yes,
okay, great. Take a listen at that. And the callers come in and express their concerns as well, and I get to answer them right there.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Just reading through the text of the website, and there's this was written before AI, okay?
I have not
AI products.
I've not updated that website in
I know, but
years.
Right, but listen to this, okay? This is how AI has ruined this type of language, I guess. It's not just a pilgrimage.
Oh, no.
For pagan, New Age, and witchcraft practitioners. It's not just a great opportunity for Instagram models and tech bros to do whatever it is they do. It is the epicenter of global socio-spiritual engineering, and that then infects the entire world monoculture.
Oh, no. I am AI.
You're AI. I told you, you're my AI. I created you, and just all the things are already there. Yeah.
By the way, AI as we know it, the chatbot stuff, this was actually out at Burning Man before it was released. The people, the technology, it was all there. Go back, listen to all of our stuff. You're going to love it. Scroll up to the top of your burningmanresearch.com. Do you see the big green button? Do you have a green? Why is the button not there for you?
Let me refresh. It's been there. It is. There's the button.
Oh, you must have had that page open from.
Oh, it's been open for years.
Oh, interesting. Yes. Okay. People were asking. We do now have a button, and just to be clear, we don't take from the general fund for Canary Cry to pay for the Burning Man research project. It's a totally separate thing, okay? Because some people, they still have a problem with what we do there. We don't want anybody thinking that, their money or whatever goes to something they don't want it to go to. But if you want to produce the Canary Cry Burning Man Research Project this year, you can go to burningmanresearch.com or canarycry.support. You'll see a special button and click that. You can leave a note, and everything that comes through those buttons will be what will help us pull this off this year. So,
disaster. Disaster.
You have experienced quite a bit at Burning Man. You were there during the floods.
Oh, it never ends.
Last year.
Yeah. 2023 was the floods.
You got stories to tell.
They just keep going, and they're immortalized. You can. Oh, I did notice that we need to update last year's updates onto the list so people can easily access them. And in fact, maybe even putting the most recent Canary Cry Clubhouse there would be.
I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea. We should update this whole thing. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, thank you very much to all of our producers coming in with their time, their talent, their treasure. We had some people come in under the $7.77 mark, which we will save those people usually to keep their streaks going on Wednesday. But remember, if you come in, support the show financially for $7.77 or more, you're entitled to have a note read on the show, so keep an eye out for that. And we appreciate you very much. And of course, as always, you can go to canarycry.support to learn more. Bong, bong, bugga, ba, bong. I did not see any new art come in, Gons. Did you see anything come in?
I did not. The only art that I saw was on the survey. I don't think I've ever seen that piece of art before on the survey.
Which one? Oh, it's
the mashup of the
JD Vance mashup.
Vance. Yeah.
I want to say that was maybe I just pulled that off of when the JD Vance, Avatar craze was going on, maybe. But I think maybe Sir Darren put that together for us, if I remember. I'm not sure. Okay, well, another big shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. But here's the thing. It's not just the text message alert system where you text Canary to 877-740-3226 to receive a text message before we go live. And you can even text that number back, and I read them and I love them. Sometimes I read them here on the show, but I cannot carry on a conversation with you because it's very expensive for us. But you can also text the word meetups, one word with an S at the end, MEETUPS, to the same number, 877-740-3226. And you will get meetup alerts when they go on that month in the world or the nation. And also, we are working on targeting texting people by area code if a meetup is going on in their area. So you might already be on the Canary keyword. We texted Canary to that number, but you should also text meetups to that number. Don't worry, they're two different sort of things. If you sign up for one, you won't get the other. You get the point. But if you want to be alerted when meetups are going on, because folks, the internet is dead. It is time to start meeting in person.
I heard the whole dead internet theory was buzzing last week, like towards the end of the week.
Oh yeah, it's
I didn't really dig too deep into it, but people were saying how it's the bots and everything to have.
There's a very strong trend, not just like trending on X or something, but like cultural analytical trend, where basically public-facing internet is basically already dead. There's no way to tell what's a human, what's a robot. The AI fatigue is setting in where people are just assuming everything, even if it's an account of someone is a human. So much of their material, at least the material that actually goes somewhere that the algorithms spread, is all AI. Okay, no human is making popular posts anymore. So, it's basically agreed cross-generationally, the public-facing internet is dead. That's why you want to get into, you want to get into your community on the internet, such as canarycry.community, which is our very special private place. I mean, it's private. There's like 1,000 or 2 people in there, but they're Canarians. It's a little bit slower paced of an experience, but it's much more deep, and you're actually dealing with human beings at canarycry.community. There's also the Discord channel and the Telegram. You can find those at canarycry.party. But the meetups are where it's at.
wanted to squeeze that in before you go to the meetups there. But yeah, you have an option to do something like canarycry.community or WorldCoin. I saw WorldCoin in the news a lot last week too. Sam Altman and his eyeball iris scanning orb. People are starting to talk about that again. So we'll just have to keep an eye. You can either do that or you can verify humanity through canarycry.community.
It's your choice.
So
your choice. Either get your eyeball scanned or go to canarycry.community. You have to choose one.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the meetups. Go to canarycry.meetup.com. canarycrymeetups.com. We got meetups going on, and we want you to be there. In fact, you must be there, or else, they're not. It's not a meetup if nobody goes to them. So you should go to them. canarycrymeetups.com. You'll see we have the Kansas City area meetup coming up August 24th. You can contact casey009@hotmail.com to learn more about that. We've got the Chicagoland meetup, which is coming up on August 31st. Who do we contact? American Canary at protonmail.com. American Canary at protonmail.com for that. Chicagoland, August 31st. Or we have the Dallas, Texas area meetup. That's in Garland, Texas. That is on August 30th. You can email truthtransistorradio@gmail.com. And if you have any trouble getting in contact with any of these people or finding out where they're going to be, just go to canarycrymeetups.com. You can see it. And look, if there's not a meetup in your area, you put on the meetup. You pick a time, pick a place. People will show up. There's Canarians all around you, okay? I know I mentioned I'll put a form on the thing. I have not done that yet. I will do that. And if there's a producer out there somewhere who wants to help just keep track of the meetups, please reach out, because I need to have somebody who's like a direct contact to help gather the meetups so they're not getting lost in the shuffle. Okay. So if you're a producer, you've been wanting to help out some way, one very easy way to help out the show that's very important and will continue to become more important is you can be our Canary Cry meetups liaison to help whole communities of Canarians around the world get together and stay together. Okay. So go ahead and do that. Go to canarycrymeetups.com. If you want to help us out, if you want to volunteer, become a producer to help keep track of that, send me an email at canarycryradio@gmail.com.
All right.
We'll see you at the meetup.
This is fun.
And before you get too excited, folks, go take the survey right now. Even if you're listening to the podcast version, go to the description of the podcast. Go to the description of the video right now, wherever you're watching. It'll take you 15 seconds. There's only 2 required questions. Okay. What do you want me to do? I can't do any less than that. What's less than 2? Nothing. There's nothing less than 2. Okay. It's just math. It's not my fault. But go there. This is an incredibly important thing. We need at least a few dozen people every podcast. And you might think that that's easy to do. It's not as easy as you think, folks, because it takes a very special producer. And that's what you are when you take the survey. You're a producer. To be consistent, you can track your survey streak. You can just make sure that the next episode is better than this one. Okay. Do you want the show to be better than this episode? Yeah, me too. Thank you. Now go to take the survey. The URL is tiny.cc/cc866. Is that right? Let me just double check. Tiny.
I think so. Yep.
cc/cc. Is it 856 or 866?
No, 866.
866. Okay,
by the way, episode 888 is coming up. I don't know when it'll be the next few weeks, but
we at least kind of do the knighthood and damehood special, although those kind of ran out of their benefit.
You're still getting a
deal,
$112 discount or something if you're going to be
still getting about 10% off.
Yeah,
so what we especially need to know from this survey, and please don't tell us this in the chat. Don't send us an email. Take the survey because it goes into an actual data like thing that we can see the data. And we want to know your first impressions on doing the executive producers during the show in the segments. Okay, right before the segments. We got to know first impressions, okay? Because we're going to be tweaking it. And by the end of the month, we want to know if we've done it good, done it bad. Do you like thanking the executive producer during the segments? Do you hate it? Do you want more? Do you want less? More production, less production? 2 questions. Go take the survey right now and track your survey streak. You put your email in there because we got fun stuff coming up. Okay. Anything else? What do you got, Guns? Anything you want to talk about?
I don't know. Our Skibbity artwork from today is fun. I always like this one from Sir Dev.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So 2022. No, I think that's it. I think as far as housekeeping goes, I think we did it. But you know, where it is the summer, we are doing experiments to improve the show. We cannot improve the show without you guys, not only your opinions about changes we've made, but the suggestions that you're making in these surveys too. And, you know, besides the VR headset running out of batteries today during the show, I got it back working. So far, so good. And we'll see how that goes. Okay. Thank you for sticking with us. We're trying our best around here, folks. We're trying our best around here. And of course, if you think we're doing okay, or even if you want us to do better, if you don't think we're doing good and you want us to do better, the best thing to do is produce the show at canarycry.support. But we have some people who help us out with their time. Of course, let's take a second. Thank the timestampers, Guns.
Timestamp.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Yes, sir. The last episode was timestamped by Morgan E. Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you very much, Morgan E. Appreciate that. What a wonderful example of a producer come and say, hey, I know what I can do to help the show. I commit. She's very faithful. Both of our timestampers are very faithful about that. And it goes into so much of our back-end processes. The world will never know just how much time and energy Morgan E. and Jade Bouncerson save us on a regular basis. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep.
But of course, I mentioned the Discord and the Telegram. A big old thank you to Jam and Adam42, the moderators, the administrators of the Telegram and the Discord, respectively. And you can go join the Discord and the Telegram. We got a bunch of Canarians in both of those places. Connect with real humans. Go to canarycry.party. That's our link tree. You'll see the invite links for the Discord and the Telegram. We can't wait to talk to you in there. Thank you,
This
Joe.
one's for the oldies. Do you remember that?
Yeah, wow. That was old school. A little bit quiet in my ears, but
There you go. One more time then. It's actually much longer, but I'm sparing everybody here.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that flash from the past. Thank you to Joe for all your feedback. Thank you to Clank for everything you do. And other than that, folks, share the show, I think, or don't share the show. It's constantly, we go back and forth. Should you share? Shouldn't you share? We're really leaving it up to the Holy Spirit because, look, as is discussed in the New Testament, what is good for one may not be good for another, and what is not good for one may be good for the other. So we are all to be led by the hand, by our Lord, into the life and the set of actions that we are called to do so. And that's why you should either share the show or don't share the show. I'd recommend sharing the show. I would prefer you share the show. But sometimes we know that God can do very interesting things. And by not sharing the show, perhaps that's what actually shares the show. You never know. But whether you share it or you don't share it, which you should, shill the show. We like to call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab by the cage, and then you shake it.
Yeah. The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, Guns, you got any last words?
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's something. Let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. That's 1 Thessalonians 5:6. No sleeping, anybody. You're weak if you sleep.
You know, we got a text message from Monica on the text message alert system. Says, it's Monday, you guys. I'm sleep deprived today. I went to a Weird Al Yankovic concert last night and was up way too late. God bless the CCR fam. Have an awesome show, Monica.
A Weird Al Yankovic concert.
He is still doing it, man. I heard about a tour. I think he did this a couple years ago, where he did a tour and played 0 hits. He played all polka,
yeah, he would do that.
His polka
seems like
accordion music. The whole thing was like a huge practical joke, and he had like a bunch of tour dates. Made a bunch. I mean, good for that guy. He's worked pretty clean his whole life. I don't know much about him. Who knows? Maybe he's a brother. But I'd go to a Weird Al concert. I'd lose some sleep after a Weird Al concert.
I think he might be. Time's out. Hold
out.
on. Music. Back up for the blah, blah. Yeah, it says his father's from Slovenia and his mother's Italian English, but descended from a Jewish family there. So.
Okay.
He's labeled Jewish. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Big shout out to all the clankers listening.
We love the clankers.
Don't ban us, clankers. All right, everybody.
We
Thanks
love
for listening
clankers.
to this episode of Canary Crown News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cave.
Reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Oh, what is it? Where are the wives?
In the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced 3 G's of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes.
Cool.
Blowing stuff up.
Cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space. Children in the cosmos. With your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos. Children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
I've lost access to the jingle board. Goodbye, everybody.